right, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for coming out tonight. I've got my laptop here because in case people want to Zoom in, that's an application for like video teleconferencing. And right now, no one's in, which is helpful because I've got a lot of irons in the fire. But this is being recorded as well, so if people were not able to come, they'll be able to get a recording of it. So I'm going to keep my eye on this in case someone logs in or I have to let somebody into the chat. We've got a hard stop at 5:15 probably because we got a bunch of Shriners kids in here at 5:30. That's what the sort of are doing right now. So we'll see if we even go that long. We're going to have a prayer at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and launch because I got a lot of material to cover, and I want to make sure we get through it all and really leave time for questions as you see them. So the first, we have a term in the military called BLUF, bottom line up front. So next Sunday, is this a little loud? Let me turn it down, move this down a little bit. Next Sunday at 10 o'clock, we're going to recommend that the church vote to approve the following: to move ahead with a project, and that's all those items that you see there, and I'll be going over those today, what that includes. And then also that we launch the project ASAP. In other words, we propose moving ahead starting in August. So that's the bottom line right up front. You're going to see that as the last slide as well. So you've seen this slide before, but I just want to remind you, when we started this journey, we asked, what's our interest? What are we trying to do here? What are people interested in? What's your vision? And the three things that kept coming up, obviously we are a God-honoring, kingdom-focused, and spirit-led congregation. We are interested in making disciples, the next generation of disciples. And so everything we do has got to be based on that. We're all about people. We are interested in growing younger. That doesn't mean we leave older folks like me behind, but we want to attract more young families. And you can see that's really happening right now. It's really awesome. That's the future of our church. We want to make sure we have continuity of ministry. So we don't want this project to be disruptive and just stop everything we're doing. We can't. We want to be unified. So whatever we decide to do, we don't want a bunch of drama, disagreements. Whatever we decide as a church family, we're going to press ahead with. And the third thing is wise stewardship. We want to take care of the space we have. We really can't afford a new building, although we could have probably tried, but that would have been a long stretch. We want to make sure we leave some money in the bank, be financially prudent. We want to avoid another capital campaign if at all possible. And we want to make sure we get professional advice because when you're spending this much money and doing this much good work, it's kind of important that we get some outside inputs. So here's the problems that we're trying to solve. Yes?
I just got a text from Melissa Cole.
Okay.
She's on Zoom trying to get in.
She is.
Do you have to let her in?
I do not see.
She said, has the meeting started? I see it. I said,
Yes.
Get in.
I do not see where she's trying to get in.
Melissa Cole.
You can tell her if she wants to go by Facebook. We also have Facebook Live.
She said, it's waiting for the host to start the meeting.
I'm in Matt Burleson's account, and this is a little new to me, but it seems to me that we've started. Mute more. Rename participants. Invite? No.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, but thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, no, I'm sharing my screen. I'm in the right meeting. I do not see how this has not started. Well, if you can ask her to go ahead and get on the Facebook page. Sam has got that going. I do not see.
It's live on Facebook?
Yes, it is. Told her sorry, but I don't. It's 99%
Probably others.
likely that it's a user error. But
It is working on Facebook. I just checked.
okay, thank you.
Me too.
All right, well, we're going to go with that because I don't see what's wrong with Zoom here. I mean, I got video, audio, everything. Okay. Well, it's really the same capability, but what we're going to have to do is you can text Melissa and tell her.
I just said go into Facebook.
Yeah, and if she's got questions, tell her to text me or to call me, and I'll put her on speakerphone. How about that? Okay. Technology. So here's the problems we're trying to solve. Everybody knows about a leaky auditorium roof. We've kind of held off repairing that till we know that what the project was going to be. We moved ahead with it. We've also discovered that the fellowship hall roof needs to be replaced here pretty soon. It's not leaking yet, but it's 30 years old. HVAC, all 6 of them are over 30 years old. We lost one in February, as you probably knew if you were downstairs. We've talked about the congested entrance, that tiny foyer, the bottleneck that we have trying to get through there. When you get in the foyer, there's kind of a pressure to get out of the building because it's so crowded. It really is not conducive to people standing around and fellowshipping. It also made a problem for safety, security, and disabled folks. Restrooms, they're in the front. It's kind of hard to get to unless you go through the front or outside in the winter or downstairs, so not the best. Visitor impression, and so, again, if this is your first time here, you're exactly not sure where to go. It's not really an obvious front entrance. And when you do come in, if you come in the fellowship hall, you're like, well, I guess that's not the main entrance. It's just very confusing. It's a weird layout. It's not really good for a first impression. Auditorium, we talked about wanting to make it a little bit bigger without tearing down the walls. And we've also got, it's starting to wear out. If you've not looked around at the carpet, at the fixtures, they're old. The TVs, we've had some complaints lately about song notes being too small if you sit in the back. So the TVs are a little bit small. These windows on the side are all single pane, old windows, probably from the 70s or 80s. And so they're not very energy efficient. So this auditorium is also showing its age as well. And then finally, disabled access. It's very hard for folks to go downstairs. We do have the ramp in the back, but it's hard to get around. It's usually flooded if it snows or rains. It's got the barriers, and it's not very easy to make your way around. So you may have thought it's been quiet. It's been pretty busy actually. Here's some of the things that we've been working on in 26. And so you remember back in January, the church did approve to go ahead with the design only, not the construction, but the design, to look at options and see what this thing is going to cost. We have a small focus group. Some of you all are in here that have participating in that. We've had, I think, 6 total meetings, but we had another meeting in February. I mentioned the furnace that we lost in February. In March, they did a geotechnical boring. Maybe you saw some holes outside to do the soil analysis to see what the foundation design was going to be. That's part of the cost estimate. We do have clay soils, surprise, surprise, but luckily a special foundation is not needed. This building has lasted pretty well. In April, we selected Guy Tobacco. He's one of the local construction companies here that does kind of small to medium-sized projects, kind of the sweet spot for us. So they're not a bro guy working out of his garage, and it's not a Sletton, a big, huge company, but it's a really good company that came highly recommended. We had 2 more meetings with the church focus group to look at design iterations, features. Hey, what do you think about this? In April and June. And then all through this, February and June, we've been trying to do communication with the church. We've had bulletin articles. Scott actually had a slide or 2 in his sermon. Hey, here's what's going on. And I've always been available for questions. And so a lot's been happening the last 6 months or so. So project overview. So first of all, a couple of constraints. If you recall this, we can't really touch the exterior walls. They're load-bearing. It gets very, very expensive if you try to, let's say, knock out that wall and expand the auditorium. It's just not in our budget. And so the box we have is the box we have for this building. And then second thing, budget, obviously. If you have not priced out residential construction lately, if you've not built a house or done a renovation or done a big project, it has gotten way expensive. Commercial construction, which this is, is even more expensive. So you can see how much it costs per square foot. $350 to $400 is the going rate around here. That's, commercial materials, nicer features, thicker carpet, all the things that wear and tear, that just cost more. And so those are two constraints that we've been operating under. So the project scope has got three pieces. First is to add that welcome center. Excuse me. By extending the current foyer just straight out that way. And you see that's almost 1,800 square feet. The second is to renovate this existing auditorium within this shell and the stage area. And the third is to improve exterior access. And I'm going to get into each one of those and show you some pictures and some renderings to give you a better idea. But in general, those are the three kind of big blocks that I'm going to talk about, hit those today. So first, new welcome area. So this is a rendering, obviously, but so it'd come off straight off the old building, kind of into that grassy area, and you can see roughly the footprint of it. This is another, again, rendering of what it could look like. We have not picked colors and finishes yet, but metal siding is very modern nowadays. We can choose brick, but that's much more expensive. And so that's, again, what it could look like with a new walking path. They've got landscaping in there. So the floor plan, I'm trying to make this readable. I think it is. Okay, so we're going to start at the 9 o'clock position there with A. So that's the entryway as you come in from the parking lot. As you come in on your left, there'll be restrooms, which is B. There's a men and women's restroom, both handicap accessible by code, and a small janitor's closet with a slop sink. You see C there. That's the exit to the fellowship hall. Okay, so you'll still be able to get to the welcome area from the fellowship hall from the welcome area. And you'll see that a little bit better here in a little bit. On D, that's where the elevator is. So when we talk, I'm going to use the term elevator because it's a lot easier to say than vertical platform lift. But it's essentially a vertical platform lift. It's not, you can't think about an elevator that you see in a hotel or a bank or a downtown building. It's not a big one with the pocket doors, okay? We decided to go with the Ford Focus instead of the Cadillac. A lot less cost, a lot less maintenance, but still functional, still safe, and they're becoming more popular because of the cost of these elevators, especially to maintain them or fix them long term. If we did an elevator, we'd have to dig a 4-foot pit. We'd have to have additional clearance in the ceiling and a lot more electrical and maintenance. And so we have an elevator, but it's not technically an elevator. E, okay, those are going to be the entry stairs up to the auditorium. So you may remember, go back a slide, because our church is on a hill, the Welcome Center is about, the floor of the Welcome Center is about 3 feet lower than this auditorium right now. Okay, and you have to do that because of grades and slopes, and to get the disabled up, you can't have it too high. Okay, so the Welcome Center sits about 3 feet lower than this we're standing on right now, and so these are going to be steps going up to the auditorium. And so if you're disabled, you can jump in the vertical lift and take a very short ride to get the 3 feet up to get onto this level. Okay, and then F, kind of skip down to the bottom right corner. That's a door, and that essentially gets you to downstairs. It's kind of hard to visualize, but our entry right over here where the stairs are, that whole entry area stays as is. So the welcome area is lower than this, but a little higher than that on the bottom. So you got to take a couple of stairs down. Okay, so you're gonna that's how you get downstairs from the welcome area. You don't have to go outside. The other thing I'm going to mention, the next three, you see my note, these are not, the layout in the big, I'll call it lobby area, is not finalized yet. But we are going to have some sort of I call it an admin counter. You know, our counter back here, you know, it's kind of a sign-up sheets, flyers, where we put Lord's Supper, all that stuff. We're going to have something like that in the new welcome area. So right now it's shown where location G is, right there by the stairs, so people can see it as they go in. H, call it a small group sitting area. We've got a fireplace put in there, electric one for right now, but it's a nice little area that, and it really doesn't show up that well. If you can't really see the outline, but some chairs, you can have a rug there, whatever. You can have a small group Bible study there on the fireplace. You could have sit for some coffee, whatever, but it's a nice little seating area. And then I, which is kind of an upper middle, the one people really want is the coffee bar, right? So maybe a coffee station in the foyer near the bathrooms where you have water, okay? None of that's really set yet. We can still play around with that, but those are the main features. We're also going to have a drinking fountain somewhere in there and some coat racks. But it's really a large open area. So let me show you 2 renderings of what this could look like. These are not final. These are just samples of what it could look like. But they're the 2 pictures that tend to get people really excited about what this could really become. So here's the first one. As you're walking into the welcome area. So you've got restrooms on your left. You can have a coffee bar on your left. You see straight ahead toward the back, there's the stairs up to the auditorium. Got some sort of a seating area to the right there. Maybe you have a fireplace there, electric fireplace. You've got big windows. But it's just a really nice area to kind of chat, fellowship, even have a little Bible study. And just encourages people to kind of hang around and socialize.
Is that going to be pretty much the size of what it's going to look like, or is it just the layout you're looking at?
I think it's roughly 40 by 42 is the whole footprint. It may look a little elongated, but it's kind of hard to see it in scale. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. Yes, you do. Yeah. So the 3 dudes, or I guess that one's a female. Here, I got my pointer. So I should be using, this doesn't show up very well. Can you see my pointer? Yeah, so that's the elevator right there. And it looks like it's essentially a door. Yeah. It's right there. So you essentially open the door, get your wheelchair or your walker or whatever in, your crutches, and then you'll go up 3 feet. It also does go downstairs. They move pretty slow. Again, not your commercial elevator, but this allows like Eric Carmen to go downstairs and teach, as an example. Okay? Brute force. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge. It is, but we're going to have to keep kids out of there. But it's a little bit. It's almost easier than an elevator because they have to be old enough to physically open a door. It's real safe. There's not anything they can do. You can't even go up or down until the door is shut, and there's no place to fall into. So from a safety perspective, they're safer than elevators for kids. But you're right. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Is that just like the one they have at Meadowlark?
Say what?
Is that just like the one they have at Meadowlark?
I didn't go to Meadowlark. I went to a company called Ginco in town and looked at one there. So,
Well, it sounds exactly like it.
yeah.
If somebody wanted to look, they could go to Meadowlark, go in the front door and go straight back, and it's right there.
Meadowlark what?
Meadowlark Country Club.
You have to wear a suit and tie.
What's that?
No, just kidding. So we have to, yeah. And you can have different finishes. You can make them look like a freight elevator, or you can make them look nicer, okay? So again, I've talked to Eric Harmon. He said, brother, if I can get up here, I don't care what it looks like. So here's a second potential rendering. Again, just different finishes, looks, whatever. Fireplace isn't shown there, but this is an earlier version, but we have not talked about colors, finishes, carpet, wood. This will probably need some noise deadening. I think that's what is in the ceiling there, to make it so it's not too echoey. So, but this is cool. This is cool. Whether you like this one or the previous one, we're gonna have some work to do, but that's part of the reason, you know, LPW architecture is good, is they do this stuff for a living. And so, we may, when we renovate this auditorium, obviously, we're gonna try to match the colors and everything, but we won't have all those nice features in the auditorium. I mean, we're not gonna put a fireplace in here, wood floors, but we'll have nicer lights, etc. But I'm getting ahead of myself on the auditorium. Any question on the welcome center before we start talking auditorium? So let me go back to this.
You have 2 questions.
Yes, Julie.
The only thing I was wondering is basically where the lift is, that's the only option for where it could be?
Yes,
Okay.
because when it goes downstairs, we're gonna lose one of the bathrooms downstairs. And so the bathroom downstairs will become a unisex bathroom.
Okay.
But it should be less traffic with 2 more new bathrooms here. So yeah, we're pretty limited.
Okay, and you said F was a door also, so it couldn't be in that corner?
Yeah, F is our
Oh, down
existing.
the stairs?
Yeah, stairs, we couldn't put
Okay.
it there.
Okay,
So it really is about the only place we
only
could
place.
put it.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because the stairs into the auditorium, you know, you'd have to get your wheelchair and kind of cross paths of people coming in and out there. So
Yeah,
just another obstacle for people in a wheelchair.
yeah, you're talking about people that are walking up the stairs or coming down the stairs?
Yes.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of a challenge.
But otherwise, it looks good.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, when you do renovation versus new construction, you pretty much are constrained to the infrastructure you've got. Sometimes you got workarounds like that.
I just had a question about the fireplace. It's nice, but if it's not necessary, have you considered, does it make the insurance cost go up on the building, having a fireplace, and is that worth having?
Right. And so we've talked about primarily electric. I don't know that that'll increase insurance. Gas or wood would. Easier to operate, it's a flick of a switch. They've got nice ones nowadays. It also is cheaper to install the gas. I would never put a wood fireplace in the church. You wouldn't want to do that. So gas would be the other option. But then you've always got the risk of, you know, some kid playing with a gas fireplace. And the electric ones are easy to put in. They're nice nowadays. So even if it's not on, you could still have the stone mantle and everything else and make it kind of nice. And the electric fireplaces do put out heat. They do put out heat. I've got one in our house, or Land's mom's house. It's pretty nice. She likes it. Was there another one? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if we're going to improve the drainage in the parking lot at all.
Well, so right now, the answer is no. Because it would take, to redo the entire parking lot and to redrain it and reslope it is way beyond the budget we have right now. So what they are doing is when they do and we'll get to this in a minute, look at the access outside, they're gonna scope or do a camera through the drains to make sure they're all flowing. But right now, we're kind of a hostage of our current parking lot slopes. It drains pretty well. There's pockets of it, but most of the drain ends up over in this corner. It doesn't even make it to the street, so it kind of puddles up in this corner here. But right now, yeah, we're not going to be able to. If you look at it, the amount of fill that they would have to bring in to slope it away from the building versus to the building is really cost prohibitive. Our first concern was the drainage. Is it affecting the foundation of the building? That was kind of first priority. And right now, it does not seem to be. So it's a nuisance in the winter. I know it's got some freezing spots. But right now, as far as we know, the foundation of the building is just fine.
I was just wondering, how wide is that E, you know, the opening with the stairway going up into the auditorium? How many feet is that approximately?
It's wider than our entry right now.
Because
of course, the one thing I did
we're
not bring was
concerned
my
about that,
glasses.
right? Because of the flow in and out.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how much wider is it than what we have now?
These stairs or just the
No,
entry?
the opening to get into,
Oh,
where
Yes.
E.
yeah, I understand, but, the stairs are gonna be wider than that entrance.
Yeah, but how much
I'm not
wider?
sure.
Because that's,
Yeah.
if we're gonna do all of this, that's one of the major
Still
things.
constrained,
is
yeah.
We're
And
still
part of
gonna
the-
have a bottleneck if they're not wide enough.
Right, and it's gonna be wider, and I think it's quite a bit wider. And when you see the auditorium layout, you'll see that it's even wider yet. Because there's gonna be 3 doors, full-size 3-foot doors instead of 2, whatever those are, okay? So it starts wide, and it goes a little bit narrower, but it's still a lot wider than that is, for sure.
Because that's one of the biggest issues.
It is, yeah. And
Well,
part,
we don't want them to leave too fast anyway.
yes.
We want to move into an area where they can stay.
Yeah, I'll have to get you that. It's on the plans. I don't have my glasses because it's super tiny print.
So I'm wondering about the size of the vertical platform lift.
Yes.
How,
So what we did is we took Tony and Eric, and so she's standing behind him in his wheelchair, and we measured it to make sure they're going to fit. And yet, what's that? It's for 2 people. It's really for 2 people. It's 2 people, yeah. You can have the disabled and an assistant. Yeah. So, Cheryl and Tommy, or Tony and Eric are again, not trying to be pejorative, but, weight-wise and size-wise, that's probably a wheelchair and a full-grown adult behind is going to be probably the worst case. We can't put any more in that. And the bigger we make the elevator, the narrower that E gets, the stairs. Yes.
This is Cheryl Lute. I know we can't redo the parking lot, but is there any way we can make a concrete ramp so there's not a little step down?
We're going to talk about that. The answer is yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna move ahead because we got some more to cover. But you can always come back to this. But again, I think that looks pretty cool. That's going to be really neat. And they kind of give you the sense of the stairs there. Again, it's kind of hard to say, but they've got handrails there for if you're not wanting to take the lift, but you need a little help. Obviously, there'll be handrails. Okay, so the second is the auditorium, the space that we're in here. And so again, we'll start at the same place. So A is the exit to the welcome area if you're going downstairs, or not downstairs, but 3 feet down. You can see where the elevator is, so that when the elevator comes up into the auditorium, it is right by the stairs there. And again, I understand that it's going to be a little, if there's a crowd rush there, he's going to have to kind of snake through. C is the cry room, so it's roughly 20-30% bigger than the one we have now. Again, you're getting so many kids. So it could be for nursing, it could be for crying, for kids wanting to cry or whatever. Should be a changing table in there. And the same kind of window setup. D is the stage, and I'm going to show a separate slide on that here in a minute. E, and so there's going to be a new emergency exit right over here. So when the architect met with the city, and they saw the additional square foot, the concern was, well, do we need to put fire sprinklers in here? Because now you're kind of growing the footprint, and now you can put 250 people in here, and there's a whole bunch of space for people out there, and the threshold is 300 people. Well, the architect sweet-talked them into it, but they did say, we really like to see that emergency exit. And that's just the right thing to do, because if God forbid something happened, this will still be a constraint going downstairs. Yes, it'll be wider here, but if you're in the front of the auditorium and we need to get out fast, it's just another option. Okay, so that was kind of the compromise, and the city said, yeah, that's a great idea. No fire suppression, so done. And then F, again, where the counter is back there right now, that's going to be the stairs going up to the mezzanine, the balcony. So the stairs are not going to be here anymore. Those stairs are going away. The stairs will be up and then that away. Okay? The chairs, how they're arranged, are they semicircular like they have? Do we have, 3 rows or 4 rows? It's TBD. We're gonna have to experiment a little bit. But bottom line is they were able to increase the amount of seats from roughly 250, that includes upstairs, to 250 versus about 212 they have now. So there are going to be additional seats and some places to sit in the back, especially that for security or moms or whoever. Okay. And then finally, new carpet, paint, fixtures, so the fans, the lights, but not much, nothing really physically changing here except for the back. Okay. Questions on the auditorium? Yeah. Thank you, CJ.
So you say there's nothing other than the emergency exit that's going to change, so the stage is going to stay the same?
Next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the stage in the baptistry, okay? We are going to lower the stage to about 2 foot tall. It's just, for the folks in the front, it's super tall. And so were you guys here on Wednesday night? For those who were here on Wednesday night, we did a test, and we actually had Matt stand on the stairs to try to figure out how tall to pull the stage. And so it'll still be up there. You'll still be able to see him, I think. But we are going to lower the stage. We're also going to cut it in half. And so the stage will essentially start here. All this goes away. This whole little cubby area and that little cubby area goes away. The sinks, they're not used. The stage was designed probably for a Baptist choir. And so in order to get more seating up front, we're going to cut the stage in half. The baptistry is going to be raised somewhat above the stage. We're still toying with that, 2 to 3 feet high. And then there'll be steps behind it that you can, depending on how high we make it, for someone who's baptizing to go behind the baptistry so it doesn't block the view. But that's TBD. New lights. The lighting here is not the best, especially for a stage. And so probably some new track lighting, and then maybe a little bit of up lighting in the back to make that look nicer, and then obviously larger TV screens. So yeah, so we are, kind of redoing this whole area, but not the walls or anything like that. So yeah, so I guess I misspoke. So in the back, it's going to be redone. The front's going to be redone, but the shell of the building and everything else, we're going to cut a door in the wall, but that's not a big deal. So any questions on the auditorium, either the previous slide or this slide? Okay. All right, so the third is the exterior access. Okay, again, we'll start there at about the 9 o'clock position. And so as you go up to the Welcome Center, there'll be steps coming from that direction. And then from the other direction, from B side, that'll be an ADA ramp. And so to answer Cheryl's question earlier, that new ramp, when it goes down to the street or sidewalk, we can make sure that's a ramp, actually ADA accessible. C, it's just a sidewalk along the building there. And then D. Okay, so this is where we spent a lot of time, especially the last few weeks. D is going to be a covered sidewalk. Okay, one time we're looking at the possibility of a corridor, like fully inside, roof, air conditioning, make it look nice. And we looked at a couple of options to how to do that, and it was just too expensive. It's more expensive than you think. And so budget-wise, we say, we're not going to do a corridor at this time. The other thing that we weren't sure of, at one point we looked at covering that entire area and making it an inside playground. That's definitely not within the budget. And so what we didn't want to do is to build a covered corridor that might have to be torn down later because we don't have the playground or a building expansion or whatever we want to do with that space, that weird triangle space. We don't have that figured out yet. We don't have the money to do anything with it, but we don't want to lock ourselves in by building permanent infrastructure, a corridor. And so for right now, it's just going to be a sidewalk. We'll have a cover, a roof on it to keep some of the snow and ice off of it, so that'll help. But that's where we landed for budget-wise, and it also preserves future flexibility for whatever we decide to do with that playground. Now, we did ask them, and again, this kind of depends on budget, is that little area here in the fenced area, we do want them to clean that up. It would be nice to take down that fence. It would be nice to maybe screen those air conditioning units and maybe make that a little play area. But it's just not in the budget to do anything spectacular, especially when you start talking about moving those air conditioning units. There's a gas line in there you'd have to move. So anyway, that's how that ended up really in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so that's new. Okay, so we are going to have there's 2 sets of stairs out there, but right now it's just mud. You walk along the windows, the window wells there. And so we are going to have a new sidewalk with stairs outside so you can get up the fellowship hall. So that's new. F, I've already talked about, emergency exit. Again, it's just a set of metal stairs. And then G, that is our existing entry out here to the southeast. There's really not going to be any change to that. But I will talk about something at the end that we might be able to change it. So, looks-wise, again, here's that same diagram, but you can kind of see some of the layout there. So, yeah, so the new sidewalk and stairs here along the building. So the ADA ramp will get you into the Welcome Center, or it will get you over to the Fellowship Hall. There's that covered walkway I talked about. And again, it'd be nice to take down that wooden fence and clean this up, and so maybe kids could play in here, but that's a TBD on budget. And then stairs into the Welcome Center if you're coming from this direction. And then what would be nice is again, to kind of highlight further that this is the main entrance. You've got some nice, bollard lighting here, so some pathway lighting, in the winter when it's dark. That'd be nice. And that's not terribly expensive. So, again, that same rendering of what it could look like. I've circled that covered walkway or that breezeway there. Okay, questions on the access pieces? Sure.
So this entrance over here on this side with the stairs coming up from the parking lot
Yes.
is going to stay the same?
Correct.
Are you going to fix all of that mess of that flower garden and all that brick that's breaking down in that area?
Not as part of this
Because
project unless we have money.
it's a mess.
It is, yeah.
And it's
some of it could be done self-help. I mean,
it's
it needs to be replanted.
crumbling and the aesthetic view of that is horrible.
It is, yeah.
So I think it needs to be a priority.
Yeah. So right now, it's not in the budget. And you'll see at the slide, I have a list of things that we could do depending on how bids come in. But the good news is it's no longer going to become the main entrance. Like right now, that's where a lot of visitors come in and that's their first impression. We could do some things like replant. Some of the brickwork is probably going to take a professional to do. You're talking about on the front entrance, the wood on the front entrance. Yeah, it's not the best. It is. So I agree something needs to be done, but based on, because frankly what needs to be done is the whole thing tore out and redone. And so we're going to probably include that as a bid option, again, budget permitting. But you'll also see the other things that we could look at if we have money as well. But I do agree with you. I'm not arguing with you. It's just budget-wise, it's not there.
Did you indicate they're gonna replace these?
Wait.
I was looking at those stairs to the fellowship hall and then that little patio. Is that going to be fixed and
The
replaced?
wood?
Yeah, the wood one.
Not as part of this project. Not as part of this project. We got plenty of projects around that we could probably tackle ourselves, but I agree, because we've talked about actually enclosing that wood patio areas as well. Gets a lot of snow in there, and that's where a lot of snow comes down and rain in the basement. So maybe that's something we need to look at internally, so. All right, so I heard Bob's question earlier, are we replacing the windows in the auditorium? The answer is yes. That's been priced out.
You talked about taking down the fence and fixing this area over here for like a kid's play
Budget
area.
permitting, yeah.
Is that something that we could organize and do ourselves? Not the screening of the units, but the actual ripping that fence down and whatnot?
Some of it we could, but they're gonna be in there anyway. They have to replace a couple of those air conditioning units. They're also gonna have to do something with the drainage. If you've ever looked in there, there's like 3 or 4 drain pipes coming in, and they all go underground, and they go under that sidewalk. Well, that sidewalk right now is gonna have to be tore out, and they're gonna put new drain pipes underneath. So they're gonna have to do some work in there anyway. And so, I think a lot of it, they're gonna have to be doing with heavy equipment and tearing it up and can level it, make it look nice. It's just a weed pit right now. And I was
Okay.
told that the fence is there because kids used to go, not our kids, but neighborhood kids used to go in there and smoke or use it for a hideout or something. So that's part of the reason why that fence is there.
Yeah, it's too tall. I've never seen behind the fence.
Yeah. So yeah, but we do want them to have, so at a minimum, it'll be cleaned up some. It's just a matter of how far we have them take it, depending on the budget. Yeah. Was there another question on the access pieces? Oh, Tom? I got you. Hurry up, CJ.
One of the things I see maybe being kind of a weather issue, you have those doors headed west that are entrance doors. Right now, we don't deal with that. They have a breezeway
Yeah.
that is protecting us from weather
You're talking about the entrance to the,
to the new part.
yeah. Well, and
Because that's gonna face west, and then you have a short corridor with some more doors there. I'm just wondering if there's some way you can,
extend that.
extend it, or else do away with the second one somehow by maybe making more what we have there, in an area that's not needing that second set of doors.
You're talking about on the bottom here of the stairs?
Yeah, the entrance that's sticking out there. The main entrance into the
But
building.
what we have now is kind of that same thing. It's a set of double doors, right?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the entrance to your building,
Oh, the entrance to the building, yeah,
the new one.
yeah,
Because it's facing west,
right,
where we don't deal with doors facing west right now.
yeah,
And it's protected from weather more so.
right,
And you don't need then the second set of doors.
yeah. We can look at that.
I mean, I'm just throwing out
Yeah.
a thought. I mean, weather is a big factor.
Yeah. It's, yeah, I guess there's probably some pros and cons to that as I think through this. Usually why you have a second set of doors, even if there's weather, is you can kind of stamp your feet and that weather doesn't come into the building. And so unless, both sets of doors are open at the same time. And so that's part of why they do that, but maybe we should look at, maybe if we take that out. And let me go back to the slide we're talking about. Make sure I'm following you correctly. So, yeah, you're talking A here. Yeah, right.
Yeah, if those sidewalks were maybe come in the other way, to A, in other words, just block that west entrance as a wall and maybe have a windows or something.
You're talking coming in from this direction? Like from the
Yeah.
side?
Yeah. And maybe putting kind of a breeze deal where you got grass or bushes there, kind of like you got now, because weather's gonna be more effective.
Noticeable. Yeah, facing west.
Put a door from the west there.
Right, and I think,
Just a
real
thought.
quick, I actually happen to have a satellite photo up. Yeah, because they are facing the southwest, and that's predominantly wind. We can look at that. I'll ask the architect what they think about that. Again, kind of pros and cons. The only con is, or one of the cons is, when the doors are open, whatever weather comes in could go straight into the welcome area. So it's almost like there's a term for it, but that's one of the drawbacks. What?
Wind tunnel.
Like a wind tunnel, yeah. So, but that's a good point. That is going to be facing southwest. Maybe we'll put a big old honking pine tree or shelter belt right there. Okay, good point. I'm going to write that one down. Okay. Any other questions on any of these? Because I want to get into the budget next. Welcome area. Auditorium. And then the exterior access. So that's kind of how it all comes together. Okay, cost estimates. Okay, so again, when we had estimates back in January, we didn't really have a plan. We said this is our budget, but the architect needs to come up with options. And so we gave him a budget to work towards of $1.4 million. We can go a little higher than that. We do have a cushion, but that's kind of where we want to be comfortable. And you can see how it kind of breaks out. And so the design, the bidding process, the bid documents, and then the management of the construction. So they would do quality assurance and things like that. That usually runs close to 10% of a project. It's a little less in this case. And then the construction and renovation, that leaves about $1.28 million. Okay. Some of this work is going to have to be done even if this project is not approved. We still have to do the HVAC units this summer. And by the way, if we decide to wait till spring, we're still doing the HVAC units this summer, so we have good heat this winter. We're still going to have to replace the roofs. We're still going to have to eventually, replace carpet in here and other things. And so some of that project cost is stuff we're going to have to do anyway. Okay. So we can reduce some of these costs if we tackle some of the work ourselves. We think we can reshingle the fellowship hall roof ourselves. Tomas is a roofer. He can get a bunch of guys, and we can put shingles on. Can't put metal roof on. That's a little different, but we could put shingles on. Talk to Adrian. We can probably do some of the interior electric work ourselves. Yeah, CJ is going to put the main panel in. So, yeah, but we got Tanner Fallett, who's also electrical apprentice, and some of us have done electrical work. We probably could do some of the painting. We could probably install an electric fireplace and build that fireplace unit ourselves. Cabinets. I happen to know a woodworker. I won't mention his name, but his initials are J as in Jim and P as in Phelps. And there's probably other work that we could do ourselves. And so, as we get into it, and the contractor has said, we told the contractor right up front, say, we've got some skilled guys and gals in here that could probably do some of this. And he says, yeah, that happens all the time, especially in churches, that you just got to tell us what you want to do and what you want us to do. So that's possible. But you can see that's where we're at on the budget-wise. Again, construction and renovation is expensive. The elevator is expensive, but that's the right thing to do. And so all that work that in all sums total, again, if you've built a house lately, you know how expensive it is. Even the cost of 2x4s and OSB and all that stuff. So, all right, any questions on the budget? Rex.
And do you remember the cost of that fireplace? Ish.
I don't.
Okay.
But I can tell you that a good electric fireplace, less than $3,000.
So as far as like the saving the cost, they make those TV stands that look like a fireplace, and they put off heat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Put one of those there, and a TV, like a big TV. That way, people that are sitting out there can, watch.
Can still watch.
Yeah. But one of those TV stand fireplace things.
Yeah, and we've seen those before. You've seen the whole range of electric fireplaces. There's the ones that look really super cheap, and they got the ribbons of fabric blowing. Those are terrible. But they have some really nice ones nowadays that you're never gonna mimic real fire, but it comes pretty close. But yeah, we could look at that. I had not thought about a TV in the, we are gonna put a TV somehow, I think, in the welcome area, and maybe to live stream the service, but also for announcements and coming events, you know. And we'd like to put, and we're gonna have sound in the cry room, but, so I'm writing that down. Live stream. Okay. Other questions about anything or the budget, the cost?
So without having members of our family do something, it's 1.2 to 1.4 million?
So, I don't know if the shingles were included in that cost estimate, but the interior electric is, that price would come down, painting would come down, the electric fireplace would come down. They do have a line item built in there for cabinets, I think. They just call it furnishings in general, because they're gonna need some sort of cabinets or something in the way, but, so yes, the price could come down.
Okay, so that includes new roofs on all the buildings.
Okay, so this, the 1.28 includes roofs on this building, a metal roof.
Okay,
The cost of a metal roof on this building is not a whole lot. I think it was $7,000 difference than shingles on this building. So it completely re-roofed this building. And I'd have to go back and check. It was around $35,000 for shingles on the fellowship hall. So that could be a savings.
so is that,
For labor. And most of those roofing costs nowadays are labor. If we bought the shingles ourselves and did it ourselves, then that would save most of that cost.
so it wouldn't be a metal roof on the fellowship hall?
It wouldn't have to be. If we did it ourselves, we'd have to do shingles. I don't think we would try to tackle a metal roof ourselves.
So that would include a new roof on this four-year deal going out to the fellowship hall? Because they're kind of
Foyer
lower
deal. The breezeway, the covered walkway,
that way, but also as you go through this door here and you go into that small section before you get to the kitchen area.
Yes,
It's
yes,
kind
so
of
I
a
think that's
step
gonna come
down,
down.
isn't it?
yeah.
Kind of lowers down there, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, so let me go back to this. You're talking that right there. So, yeah, on the left-hand side, what's there right now is gonna come down. I mean, it's getting old anyway. And if you haven't noticed, the shingles are coming up on it right now. And so that would go away, and there would just be one long continuous covered walkway. That's gonna be a metal roof, and that cost is already included in there.
So the siding that's
Just a second. Go ahead, Tom. Is you following? You're right there. Go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking at an expense, so it's not going to help you.
Oh,
I was thinking that if you have issues where those air conditioners are now, there's no roof over that area.
there's not.
So maybe there could be, it might not be that big of an investment to put the metal roof bridging the other one over that area.
Yeah, and so we looked at the roof over that area. It's gonna be complicated, and it is gonna be expensive. Because we wanted to cover that area for a playground and move all those air conditioning units and enclose that, put a roof on it, and it was just, yeah, it's 4 bridges too far, unfortunately, so.
So does the paneling that's off, does that all get replaced?
Paneling that's off.
Because we have different places where it looks like the wood is all exposed and,
Which building are you talking about?
on the original one.
On the
this
one we're in right now?
Yeah, like over on that side and over by the front entrance, there's some places that it looks like it's off. Maybe it's just discolored, but
Yeah, because this is a brick building. It does have wood-framed windows.
maybe it's around
That's
there.
kind of what Shirley was saying earlier, there's a couple places, there's like a long wooden section.
Yeah,
It does look terrible, it
Right.
needs removed or replaced and painted or something.
and it's probably,
Aesthetically, it's really bad.
yeah, it's probably where these little alcoves are, right? These little jut outs, they may probably have some wood there maybe. Yeah, so right now, the project does not touch any of that. If we have to repaint that ourselves, we probably could. Jim?
I was just gonna say, on these uprights that folks are talking about, we can spend $1,000 on some flat sheet and bend some metal covers,
Okay.
and it'll blend in with the rest.
Without having to redo the wood or anything?
Right.
Okay. You can clad it almost.
Correct.
Gotcha, okay.
I like that. Saves on paint.
Yeah, you're already doing the electrical panel, so I know you're busy. Other questions?
Just a couple things. When we were talking about extending that from having the weather come in so much, a person could actually just expand that forward to the west end of the sidewalk that you have planned there. And it gives you a bigger area and have your windows there. In other words, and it would be a nice opening for you and not so closed in for the next second set of doors. In other words, you got that.
Here, I'm gonna give you this. Can you point and shoot? Just, yeah, point with your,
Point and shoot.
don't point in the middle of the eyeball. Which screen are you on?
This one.
You may be too far away. You may have to come closer. What's that?
Those digital lights don't make those screens, mine won't even work on mine.
Oh, is that
Well,
right?
Where you got your sidewalk coming in to A, it's coming in and then you got the two doors facing the west.
Yep.
All right. If you were to extend those walls out of A to the west end of the west side,
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
you see, and
Just
then,
go-
then have your door.
Then have the
And
door
then
there.
have that bigger opening for more of an area for you
Ah.
to have the second
Yeah, I see
sidewalk.
what you're saying.
And it's not gonna be that big a deal. And then put your breezeway, put a,
You stand really close. Or let's try that one if you're closer.
right there, have a breezeway coming like this and like that. You know, something to protect
Yeah.
from the weather, but then have your windows right there. I mean, on the west side of the sidewalk. So you'd have windows like that.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying.
Have light come in.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had a question on was,
Yeah.
Where those windows are at right now, is that the stairs that you have as E? In other words, your stairs are gonna come up and the top level's gonna be where your windows are right there?
The windows that are in the cry room?
No? Your foyer right now?
Yes.
That's gonna be part of this level, right? And then your stairs are going down into the new part?
Correct.
Okay, so the stairs come up to the windows and then in?
Roughly, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I can show you the overall again. So here's. I like this. Yeah, maybe this will help. So you can see the purple is the existing building, right? So essentially where the windows are is the kind of the top of the stairs, roughly. So the, yeah, so this is where the current building, the windows are right now. It's essentially where the top of the stairs are down at the Welcome Center.
So our cry area isn't gonna extend farther out into the building than it is right now, into the foyer, into the worship area?
So the cry, where the current cry room is right now is gonna be extra seating. And where the back,
Okay, that's gonna be extra seating?
yeah.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, so our
Okay.
cry room right now is, let me get oriented here. Is essentially this. This is our current cry room. And then this is the kind of the current exit. This is the current door out. So yeah, we're pushing at least this part of the wall back. And then this is also going to come back because that counter is no longer there.
So basically, the exit door is being closed off, the cry room is being put there, and this cry room is going away. So it's just flipping to the back side.
Yeah, part of it will remain, but it is getting kicked back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of hard to visualize. Okay, we've got,
Where the stairway is going up,
yes,
is that gonna be extra seating?
yes, essentially, yeah, the stairs go. And essentially where the where the counter is now is essentially gonna be, the stairs going up, but there'll be seats along that. These are seats. This is really hard to see. So those are extra chairs right there.
Okay.
There's chairs, there's 4 chairs there. And so this is the stairs up. And so there'll be a lot of seating in the back for whomever, moms or whatever. I should have zoomed that in. Okay, so let's finish up here, and and whatever time we have, we can do questions. If there's no more time on the budget. So I keep saying budget, 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 right? Here are some additional options that we can look at, and these can be long-term or it can be part of this project if we end up having enough money. Shirley, what you're talking about, the number one there, the brick planter and the steps, the existing southeast entrance, they need some love, big time. As well as the doors, the entry doors that are there are also kind of rough. We haven't talked about landscape planters. None of this work includes landscaping right now. So planters around the building. We've talked about an island out here in the middle of the grass area with a nice sign there. That could be an option. We've talked about replacing auditorium chairs. They're not too bad yet, but they're getting bad. It's like when you have moved into a new home and then you put your new old furniture in there, it's like, ugh. We could have the same effect, we'll see. We could enclose one of the sides of that breezeway, that covered walkway, as a sheet metal block, or just put tin on the side that blocks the wind. We are going to have to do a little restriping. I mean, our handicap spots, our guest spots are going to change a little bit, and so we are going to have to do a little bit, but the striping is not too bad now, but in some places it's getting pretty wore out. And then, one of the very early options is the architect says, you've got all this spaced out here with this concrete, you could put some extra parking there. That's going to be probably long term. So I don't see that as really an option. And there's other things. The other one I did not put on the slide, I need to put it on there, is they recommend painting the outside of the fellowship hall. And we've actually had visitors come and mention the same thing. You can tell it's an add-on, right? Because this building is kind of brick and wood and warm colors, and then you got the fellowship hall, which is all gray. It doesn't look the best. And so that's another thing we could either look at having done, or again, it's kind of a self-help project. We wouldn't have to repaint the office or the garage, I don't think. But this is one building, and you're trying to look uniformity, that's another option. So again, not prioritized, but there's plenty of work out there that we could do. Did I miss anything, other extra work that people mentioned that's not on here? Okay. All right, so if approved, when would we start? Option 1 is we would start ASAP, and that would probably be breaking ground in August. So there's some pros and cons. The pro is it will probably be cheaper. I will guarantee it will be cheaper if we start this year than next. Prices continue to go up. If you haven't heard, the company Janicki just got awarded a big project. They're going to be breaking ground. Malmstrom has got $1 billion plus starting construction in 27. And so it's just going to get worse. And so it will be more expensive the longer we wait. Contractors have bandwidth and availability now. The other pro about starting and getting this thing dried out is a lot of that interior work could be done in the winter when crews are likely to be more, that's their slow season, and so you'll have more people, but if you try to get somebody doing interior work in the summertime or the fall, you may be waiting longer. And so the project could go faster. The really only con I could come up with, and I'm not even sure this is a con, but less time for members to mentally prepare. I don't know if that's a thing. I mean, The other option is we could just hold it and wait till next spring, but it will cost more. It will probably take longer, but it gives us more planning. And planning is not really a thing, because if you see the next bullet, the contractor believes we can stay in the building. In here for a while, but at some point, we're going to have to go to the fellowship hall. Okay? But the downstairs is not getting touched except for the mech rooms, and so we could continue to remain here. He's pretty confident of that. And so as far as planning, and trying to find another place to worship and all that, that's not really a big deal at this point, that we can foresee. Okay, so our recommendation is let's get going on this. If we're going to do it, let's get going. Okay, the cost really kind of scares me. Again, I won't go over this, but all these benefits from a physical perspective, we've kind of talked about. It takes care of a lot of our lingering infrastructure issues. We got more restrooms, more space, more entry way, better access for the disabled. We've got about 18% more seating in here. So again, we can't double the auditorium size, but we can squeeze some more space out. But the other benefits, there's some other intangible ones, and I really do think that this does improve our ability to seek the next generation. That welcome area is going to be, I think, helpful to keeping folks around longer, better first impressions, better time for, get small Bible studies or whatnot. And Bob and I were talking about this. A lot of people come and stay in our church because of the friendly people and the gospel that they're hearing. Unfortunately, a lot of people come and make a first impression and don't come back based on your facility. And that's just the way the world works. And I think having a more modern facility is going to attract more people. Take that for what you will. This is also kind of closing out the commitment to, and a lot of you folks lived through this, the whole capital campaigns. You wanted a bigger building, you wanted a nicer building. We wanted one big building to have one service in. We're not going to get there, unfortunately. But this does close a chapter that the church has been working on for a long time. And it helps honor that commitment, at least doing something with the building, making it nicer, making it larger. And so we're doing the best we can with the money that has been given. This does take care, big unforeseen bills, roofs going out, HVAC units going out like we just had. Those are two big gotchas that a church has to deal with for unforeseen risk. So we're buying down some of that risk if we take care of some of our existing infrastructure now. And then again, this is the whole conversation about the project and the building and what we do with the money. It's been going on for years. And so if we move ahead with this project and we accomplish this, this closes that chapter, so to speak, and now we can start talking about what's next. What is next? What's God have for us next? And so those are some intangibles that I think are real important, and the leadership team thinks is real important as well. So with that, the vote is next week. We are going to recommend moving ahead with the project and launching ASAP. Again, we have to have at least 25% of our members present, a quorum, and then 2/3 of those have to approve. People can virtually attend, like if they're at Facebook, or, what's that called, Facebook Live? We're going to try to have, next week, Matt will be here, so maybe you can make Zoom work. Or if you want to have a phone call, you can dial in. But you have to be able to attend and vote virtually. You can't just say, I'm going to be in Alaska and unreachable next week, and here's my proxy vote. We're not allowed to do that by bylaws. And then the teachers, like last time, we'll give them ballots beforehand so they can vote, so that we don't have to interrupt classes down there. And then also the ballots are going to be sent to the shut-ins in advance. In fact, I'm going to make sure Eric's doing that this week.
Hopefully on Monday or Tuesday, because sometimes you cannot depend on the mail.
Some of those ballots didn't get there the last time to the shut-ins. So that needs to be a big priority tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, and I'll check with Eric first thing tomorrow, for sure. And then, so we are going to send out, essentially I'm going to send out these same slides. I'm going to make a few tweaks based on some of the questions, but I'm going to send out these slides and information to the entire church via email, so people can have time to digest it, look at it, come back with questions or concerns or whatever before next Sunday. Because next Sunday, we're going to start at 10. I'll do a very short presentation. We'll have maybe a time for a few question or answers or comments, but then we're going to vote. Okay, we don't have the time to have a whole nother big informational meeting. That's what this was for. And with that, that's my last slide. What other questions or feedback, concerns you want to talk about? This is your time. And I'm available all week, but please hit me up now if there's something that you just don't think was covered well or needs to be covered better.
Thanks, Wade.
Yeah. Thanks to the focus group too, who met several times to get a lot of good input. And we got some more input tonight. Thank you, Tom, for especially on the southwest door issue. That's had not thought about that one. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to stick around tonight. I will be around all week. You have my phone number. Get in the realm, call me if you think of something else. But other than that, we will see you later. Thank you. Yep.